Hey guys, it's Melissa. Before we get into the season finale of Basic Teen TV, I wanted to put out a little message about a high school classmate of mine. I figured our podcast was kind of fitting because we are talking about high school teen TV dramas, and we're kind of in high school mode every time we come on here to the podcast. I have a fellow high school classmate of mine. Her name is Nana Osuji, and she was diagnosed with systemic lupus 12 years ago. Over the years, I had heard of Nana's diagnosis, but I will admit I know very little about lupus. But it has reached a critical point for Nana, and she is currently battling end-stage kidney failure. That's where our other fellow classmate, Megan Nosler-Neitzel, stepped in. She is a perfect match for Nana and will be donating her kidney to her. But it doesn't end there. Another high school classmate of mine, Kellen Rixford Dunn, has set up a recovery fund for Nana, a Fight for Life fund to help with Nana's recovery and medical expenses. I'm sharing this because, of course, I want to spread the word of her story, but also to encourage people to donate if they are able to. So if you go to gofundme.com/Nana Osuji, that's gofundme.com/NONOOSUJI. You can read a little bit more about this story. There's a really beautiful video on the GoFundMe page where you can hear Nana tell her story. And like I said, if you're able to make a donation, I would be so eternally grateful. So yeah, I will leave the link in the episode notes. I'll also be posting this on our Instagram, and you can also find the link to the GoFundMe on our bio on our Instagram page. Again, our Instagram is @BasicTeenTV. So yeah, I appreciate you listening through this message. But now we'll get into the final, like I said, season finale of Basic Teen TV. We're talking about the final 2 episodes of season 4 of Dawson's Creek. Hope you enjoy. Thanks.
What are you trying to say? Why are we standing? I don't moved on. It's very real. Was I supposed to spend the rest of my life feeling miserable like crazy?
Why are you with Shirley and Ricardo? Why are you with me? I don't know why I'm still with you. I mean, I used to know, but I don't.
Basic Teen TV.
All right. Welcome. This is Basic Teen TV. Woo! My name's Melissa.
I'm Cindy.
I'm Victoria.
And we come together to talk about some 90s, 2000 teen TV dramas. The show that we are still talking about is Dawson's Creek. We're in season 4, but this is the very end of season 4, you guys.
I'm so upset.
Let's give our...
I never wanted to end.
Snaps to us. Yeah, we don't want it to end. Lucky for you, there's 2 more seasons.
2 more years. 2 more years and then we can retire.
I mean, if you guys really just want to pump through it, we can keep going. And just give ourselves a few weeks.
What's the pension
break
that we receive after this is done?
Yeah, I haven't gotten paid for this yet. I've been doing this for years.
Guys,
I haven't gotten a paycheck yet.
This is supposed to be a fun thing. We get together, we see each other's beautiful faces, we drink wine, we get a little drunk or tipsy or whatever. And
We do that. We did that last night. And
We did that like 8 hours ago.
without talking about Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, and there was no Dawson's Creek. We could just talk about whatever we wanted to.
Also, if we just power through the next 2 seasons, that means we can move on to our next show, which I know you guys are excited to talk about. I'm just saying,
That show was only one season.
The sooner we get through Dawson's Creek, the sooner we can talk about My So-Called Life.
And then we're going to talk about...
Spoiler alert, Basic Teen TV, next show, My So-Called Life.
Jordan Catalano.
Jordan Catalano. All right. So here we are, the last two episodes of season 4. The first episode is called The Graduate. So this is all about graduation. And before we came on mic, we were talking about how these 2 episodes, for being the last 2 episodes of the season, were really boring. So let's see if we can find something to talk about.
I can find something. I have some things to talk about.
Okay. Where would you like to start?
Toby's carpenter jeans that he was wearing. That's where I would like to start.
The carpenter.
It was
Let's start with the fashion.
really offensive.
I mean, that carpenter jeans were big. Oh, shit.
What
I
happened?
stepped on my headphone cord.
Headphone cords
As I was trying to readjust. Carpenter jeans were huge.
Oh, I know.
I had a pair of carpenter jeans.
Were they that big though?
You know, I'll be honest, I didn't really pay attention. I was really just kind of like listening to their conversation.
Yeah,
more than like observing the fashion.
Yeah, the fashion's bad.
It's always been bad in
Yeah,
this show.
Those jeans really just stood out to me though.
What was so bad about it? I
They
mean,
were-
carpenter jeans are making a comeback, by the
I
way.
don't want to even discuss it or think about it.
I'm just saying, I've seen some girls. I haven't seen any men wearing them. I've seen women wearing them. They're more form-fitting carpenter jeans, carpenter pants.
The Toby's were so offensive because they're all really skinny, everyone on the show, but his fucking jeans were just like 3 sizes too big for him. It looked like he was wearing a full-on like jean kilt with a strap, the carpenter strap thing. Ugh, God. But I will say that Toby looked hotter without glasses on. Because in the earlier episodes, I was always like, ugh, Jack can do so much better than Toby. But Toby without his glasses, I was like, okay, I see it now. He's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I kind of noticed that too. I was like, oh, he's actually not bad looking.
Yeah, he's like kind of attractive. And maybe his hair was different in the earlier episodes, like more spiky or something.
Yeah, well, he was doing that whole skater look with those big ass Jinkos that he was wearing.
It was like he was wearing
Essentially, they were, yeah.
Janko carpenter jeans.
Yeah, so he's trying a new look. It worked for him. It was better than like angry gay nerd. That was his old look.
Angry gay nerd.
Maybe without the glasses, he's a little more like, carefree and loose,
Yeah, he's looking good.
along with his loose carpenter pants, carpenter jeans.
Then they have this little like play fight as they're washing the car. And I was like, man, that scene should have gone on way longer than it did, because it just starts getting good and they're like squirting each other with the hose and like dumping buckets of water on each other, and I'm like, why would you end the scene here? Keep it going.
Did you want them to take their shirts off?
Yes, I wanted like a whole thing. Take off those carpenter jeans.
Start making out.
Yeah.
The play fight that they had was prompted from a real adult discussion when Toby.
Yeah, let's talk about the content of
No,
this
let's
scene.
keep talking about them getting naked and wet.
So Toby confronts Jack about, he's like, so what are we? We've been
Yeah,
dating.
Toby wants to have a conversation about their relationship and where they stand.
Yeah, they've been dating for like 3 whole weeks. So he's like, where do we stand? And then, I think Jack admitted like, well, yeah, I guess you're my boyfriend. I mean, it took some pulling to get that out of him. And then Toby's like, all right, so when are you going to like say it out loud, like to somebody else? When is this not going to be like a secret? And he's like, I don't know, when the moment's right. And then, Toby graciously let that slide, because I would have been like, what the fuck? And then they like sprayed each other with the hose. But they did not take their shirts off or their giant pants off.
Dumped the sudsy soap bucket on each other. It was hot. Can't let it go. I was like, why is the scene ending here? This is like the beginning of a beautiful porno. This is when you should start filming.
Couple of like
Not
30-year-old men pretending to be teenagers.
Yeah.
Pretending to be gay teenagers.
Yeah.
Soaping each other up.
Oh.
Now we know what kind of porn that Cindy watches.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
Fake gay porn.
So is there anything else on Toby and Jack?
I think that's.
I mean, Andy comes back in town. Toby's a little, nervous about meeting Jack's sister. He's all like, "How is she gonna like me? Like, what if she doesn't like me?" So Andy's back in this episode. She's back from her 6 months or whatever in Italy, and of course she's super excited to meet Toby. And this is the first time that Jack introduces him as his boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And Andy's like, "Oh my God, Jack, why didn't you email me?"
I mean, this was the first time that Jack introduced Toby to Andy at all.
Right.
Because he was like, "This is Toby." And then she was like, "Oh, hi." And then she was like, "I don't mean to be rude, but like,
Who the fuck are you?
yeah, who are you? How do you know each other?" And then that's when Jack was like, "This is my boyfriend." And then
And
Andy,
the look that Toby gets on his face after Jack says that, I mean, no one that's listening. First of all, no one's listening, but the people that are can't
God,
see
rude.
me. But Toby's face, he's like,
yeah, he's right. He lights up. He's like proud, but
Yeah.
also like he's going there to meet his sister, his boyfriend's sister. She has no idea who he is. I don't know.
that would make me feel sad.
Yeah, I would feel bad about that.
Like
I'd be
my boyfriend hasn't even at least spoken my name.
Yeah, it hasn't been like, oh, I'm seeing somebody. Even if you're not like, okay, we're an
Official.
item, but like, oh, there's this. I have a friend or like somebody special or something. But no, she had no idea that this human existed at all. And then he's like, come meet my sister. She's coming back from Italy, and she has no idea that you exist. It's cool. No pressure.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, Toby just kind of like glossed that over. Like it didn't seem to bother him that Jack didn't mention him at all to Andy. Like
Yeah.
Jack has given Andy all the like Cape Side news, and quote unquote conveniently left out that he's been spending time with Toby.
Have
Right.
they banged?
Who, Toby and Jack?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
It's never been
It's
addressed.
never been addressed. It's never even been spoken about. I don't think so.
Maybe just hand stuff.
Probably hand stuff. I mean, for sure hand stuff. And that's probably why Toby brought up the conversation. He's like, you've jerked me off like 15 times. Am I your boyfriend or what?
Yeah. And then he's like, what are we going to ask each other's D's? Because now that we're boyfriends, like that's next,
It's
right?
the next stop. It's the next step. Yeah.
I met your sister. Like, it's
Yeah.
time.
It's time. It's time. Get down there. Go to work.
Do your job.
Oh my God.
I'll unzip my carpenter jeans. Let it out for you.
All right. It sounds like we're narrating a porn now.
Once again. This is how Cindy spends her time alone.
Narrating my own
gay
teen
pornos.
teen gay porn. Fake gay. Speaking of body parts, Andy has way bigger boobs than I realized. She comes back from Italy. First of all, her hair is looking better.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking more adult,
Mm-hmm.
more
Yeah.
mature. But I was like, whoa, I didn't realize she had such big boobs. She's wearing kind of like a tight shirt.
I have been just not noticing women's boobs on this show. Like I didn't realize how big Gretchen's boobs were.
They're so big.
I didn't notice Andy's boobs had gotten bigger or something.
Did she get breast implants in Italy?
Yeah, maybe
I always thought, like, really, I'm thinking back to older scenes, like when she was wearing her little butterfly crop top. I thought she was very flat chested. I'm looking at some pictures from early Dawson's Creek, and she does have some boob.
Yeah,
And she's not as flat chested as I remembered.
Yeah,
but
she's just not wearing like a flattering bra in that photo, and so maybe now she's like, I want, I spent 6 months in Europe, so I should come back looking a little more sophisticated, which means big tits.
yeah, big tits and better hair.
Yeah, and like not like little butterfly clips and
Yeah.
pigtails because I'm almost a grown woman. All right. So let's
They just have better bras.
Maybe
in
it
Italy.
was just
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it was just a progression of her like becoming more of an adult woman coming back from Italy, and I don't know.
yeah, like she like left
She like loosened up a little bit, maybe.
and she like left her little podunk town and like experienced the world, and she was like, oh, I should maybe not dress so poorly and I should show off my body, like something more sophisticated.
Yeah.
more sophisticated.
Better hair, big tits, you know. All right, let's talk about something other than Andy's tits.
Let's move.
We can't go back to talking about Jack and Toby's dongs.
We can or can't.
I mean, it's better than Andy's tits.
Yes. There are way
How
more
about-
possibilities.
How about we talk about Pacey?
Oh,
Okay.
fine.
Boring.
So Pacey has apparently been working his ass off, trying to graduate on time so he can graduate with all of his friends. He has one big final to take, which was his literature final. And I thought it was really like dumb and stupid that Mitch wouldn't even allow him to go to the graduation practice. I'm like, what
It
is...
seemed a little over the top.
Yeah, it seemed a little...
He
like,
physically removed him.
unnecessary.
basically.
Like, just let him... It's fucking practice. It's a fucking run through. Like, who gives a shit? But yeah, like
Mitch caused a scene.
Mitch did
And then
cause a
everyone was
scene.
staring. And I loved, like, once Pacey left, you could see, like, a bunch of other characters or whatever on the bleachers. And they were all like, oh, my God. Oh, what just happened? Because everyone in the whole high school cares about Pacey, Dawson, and Joey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, my God, can you believe it?
So Pacey goes into his final class, his final, and the teacher like throws some sort of like comment about him about not being prepared for the test because Pacey's like writing his name on the paper and his pencil breaks and he's like, teacher, can I have another pencil? Mine broke. It's not working. And the teacher's like, oh, how typical of you to not be prepared. Like, I am not surprised at this. And Pacey just loses his shit. I mean, the teacher kind of insinuates that he's an idiot. I can't tell if Pacey like overreacted.
I don't think so, because I've never heard of a teacher speaking to a student this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused by that scene because then the Pacey gets upset and the teacher's like, oh, you know, like he tries to be like, I didn't mean it that way. Like he tried to pull it back and be like, I was just kidding, YOLO. But like Pacey's like, no,
YOLO.
fuck this shit, and like marches out. And yeah, I was like, was he kidding or wasn't he? I was like, what just happened?
No, he was saying really inappropriate shit to a student who's about to take a test.
Yeah, whose pencil broke. And I'm like,
Well, this is a common theme that we've seen before in Dawson's Creek. The teachers are like villains.
Yeah. I mean, but this is the same teacher who was very like accommodating to Joey a few episodes ago. And so I was kind of expecting him to have the same like empathy for Pacey. I mean, as he should for any of his students. But I can't remember exactly what he says, but I mean, I did find what he said to Pacey to be inappropriate. So, I mean, I guess Pacey's reaction wasn't an overreaction, but you know, that's how the scene went.
Yeah,
Pacey,
and he blew it for himself.
yeah,
Pacey
Pacey
did.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's kind of like, he's always had this. It's always been kind of like at the forefront of his own mind that he's not good enough. And, you know, no matter how much he tries, like, it's just never gonna be good enough. And so, you know, this was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And yeah, Pacey storms out. And so now it just kind of seems like he's resigning himself. Like, well, he's like, all right, well, I'm not going to graduate because I know by storming out of that literature exam, I'm not going to get a second chance to try and take it. But then, at some point, the teacher shows up at his house.
Also weird and inappropriate. He's
Yeah.
like, knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Pacey, can I come in? And Pacey's like, yeah, sure. I live in this beach house totally alone and I'm 17 years old.
Yeah.
Come on in. Come on into my home. And then the teacher's like, did you actually study for this test? And Pacey's like, yeah, I studied my balls off. And then the teacher is like, all right, I'm going to sit here at your kitchen table.
You've got 45 minutes.
Yeah. I'm going to sit here in your kitchen that you live in alone as a teenager and sit here while you do the test.
Well, nobody has any parents except for Dawson.
Dawson.
Pacey actually lives alone in the world, though, without parents.
I mean, Andy and Jack's parents are like,
Yeah,
They're totally MIA.
Is the mom still upstairs in the bedroom?
We ask this question every single time we record.
That's never been addressed.
It's never been addressed. They'll have to come to terms with it, okay? She is somewhere locked in a bedroom, still cuckoo bananas.
Wait, so
Dad,
what about Dad? Because the actor died, but what happened to the
and they
character?
never addressed that. They never actually formally ended his character either. Like he died, like you got the in memory at the end of whatever episode it was, and it seemed to like line up really nicely with the show because he was able to have his final scene where he sends his daughter off to Italy or whatever. But the show, I think we mentioned this, that we were kind of hoping that they would address it, but they never did. So technically Andy and Jack are orphans now at this
living
point.
in a mansion.
We don't even know, like we never see their house ever again. Like this happens, in the next episode where, we can talk about it when we get there, but Jack, like when Jack leaves to go home at the end of episode 23, I'm like, where's he going home to? But then he just like coincidentally shows back up at Jen's house. I'm like, I thought he was living there this whole time. Like I thought that was his home or whatever. Anyways, Pacey takes his final. He passes, so he's able to graduate. But there's this huge graduation party, and the whole entire fucking senior class is at this graduation party. Apparently, we don't know who's throwing it. We don't even know where it's at. It's like it's like at some sort of restaurant / club / beach spot or something. Andy and Pacey like see each other and they have their hellos, and Pacey and Andy kind of have this like sweet little moment where Pacey's just like thanking Andy for always believing in him and encouraging him and all this stuff. And he tells Andy that he's graduating. He passed his final, he's graduating, but that he's also taking that job as a boat hand or that boat job. Deckhand. Thank you.
On a boat.
A boat hand.
A boat hand. On some rich guy's yacht.
On some rich guy's yacht. The rich guys from Andy's college.
I was slightly confused about that at first. And then I was like, is that what he's doing? Because he's not getting paid for it. He's just...
No, he is getting paid.
Getting paid.
Oh, well, the guy said the
pay
pay
is
isn't
not great, but he's getting paid. Yeah, so he like... I feel like it's for Pacey, it's like one final fuck you to Cape Side High. He like doesn't even go to graduation. The episode,
but he shows up before the actual graduation to like sit in the chair.
Oh yes, he's
put his hands behind his head
with the wind blowing over him. He's sitting, in the empty seats surrounding him or whatever. Yeah, I remember that scene.
Yeah, he has his little moment, and then he's like, "All right, fuck all,
all right,
you.
See ya.
Yeah, bye bitches." And Dougie's in this episode, his brother, and Pacey throws his little homophobic jabs at him still.
I know. I was like, when are they gonna fucking stop doing this?
Yeah. Despite that, though, Doug has a good attitude. He's actually really trying to, be nice and helpful to Pacey. He offers to help Pacey study for this final, and Pacey's kind of in that fuck you mode. But then afterwards, it's back at Pacey's house, and Doug shows up again, and Doug's like, "I'm really proud of you, Pacey."
And Pacey was doing laundry.
Yeah.
in his home that he lives in.
Yeah.
Being very responsible.
So despite, like I said, despite the homophobic jabs that Pacey still throws at his brother,
Yeah, it was so stupid too, because Pacey was like, I've always looked up to you as an older brother, and you're gonna make a woman
really
happy one day.
Yeah.
And then Dougie was like, "Oh, are you finally accepting my heterosexuality?" And then Pacey was like, "I said make a woman happy, not happy sexually." And they're both like,
I know. Yeah.
That wasn't even a good joke.
I know.
I was like, what?
Lame.
That was lame.
I was like, there's more to a relationship than sex, right, Pacey? Maybe he doesn't.
Not to
I don't think he does.
17, 18-year-old boy. No.
Yeah, that was a fucking dumb joke. But they both were like, like really cracking up.
Yeah, so the actual final scene of this episode shows, there is the graduation scene, and we'll talk about this in a second, but Joey gives her speech, and then they start to do the roll call where your name is called and you walk across the stage, and they call Pacey Witter, and then all you see is him heading, a silhouette of Pacey heading towards the plane, he's out.
But it looked like, you see him walk into the airport, and I just knew it was the airport because we just saw that same shot when Jack went to pick up Andy.
Yeah.
But then he's walking out onto the tarmac. It looked like a scene in Top Gun or something. And I was like, is he getting on a fighter jet?
I've been on, my mom used to call them puddle jumpers, but I used to, there have been times in my life where I've flown and my connecting flight is on a super small plane where it's just
But he was going to Miami from...
Yeah, but if he's flying out of Cape Side, it's probably a super small regional airport. So they're going to take that small little puddle jumper to the next big airport.
I'm just saying the way they shot it, it looked so ridiculous, like Top Gun or something.
Yeah.
Like he was walking. You could just see his silhouette.
I'm just saying I've experienced flights where I have exited the plane onto the tarmac myself.
I've done that here in New York. I've taken puddle jumpers to Virginia, and you go out onto the tarmac,
right,
at LaGuardia, and get on one of those little tiny airplanes.
Super tiny airplanes, yeah, where it's 2 seats
and one
super small aisle, or 1 seat.
Yeah, I've been on them a lot. I'm just saying the way it was shot, he was walking like a badass, out into the tarmac.
He was kind of walking
silhouetted.
Yeah, it was a perfect orange, sunset or something.
Yeah, like Top Gun.
Yeah.
He was going into the danger zone. That's what it looked like. It's why? What?
Well, he's leaving his podunk for the first time ever. It's a big deal. He's going to Miami by himself, and then he's gonna get on a boat and sail to another country.
Yeah,
it's huge for him.
It's big
That's
deal
huge for
Pacey.
any teenager.
Yeah.
So that's Pacey's story, and then the other big story that kind of jumped out to us was Joey. So Joey has been awarded the Cape Side Pinnacle Award. She's the salutatorian. So she was number 2. She wasn't the valedictorian, but she was the salutatorian. And so she's tasked with giving a speech to her classmates. And she's struggling the whole episode to write this speech. And then there's a point where Bessie walks in and notices that Joey's having a hard time and decides that this is the moment to give Joey this letter that her mom wrote to her before she died. And Bessie's like, Mom told me to hold on to this and to give it to you when you've graduated high school. And so Joey's not only is she struggling to write this speech, but she's also struggling to read this letter. And she goes to Dawson and has Dawson read the letter to her.
To me, that just seems like a very private thing. I wouldn't want to have someone read it to me. I would want to read a letter that was written to me from my mom who died alone. I wouldn't want to start crying then in front of other people who are reading it to me.
I think this is all just a setup for the next episode, and it's a setup to the viewers that something is happening between Joey and Dawson again. Blech.
The spark is back.
Blech. Yeah. So that's supposed to be a really sentimental, sweet moment. And it was kind of I don't know. It just wasn't.
It didn't get to you?
No.
It didn't make you cry when you watched it today?
I mean, it might have gotten me a little bit, but I'm just saying, like, in general, it was just like, are we really going here again with these two?
I'm over this whole plot line.
Yeah.
I'll get used to it because it doesn't go away for the next 2 seasons. Fuck.
Yay, Dawson's
This is
Creek.
the whole point of the show is Joey and Dawson.
And Pacey.
And and Pacey on the side.
Yeah.
They're bullshit.
So she's able to like write her speech after Dawson's read her this letter, and everyone graduates. And that's the end of the episode.
Woohoo! I have one
Yeah.
more point that I want to make about this episode.
Okay.
And I was thinking about this when Pacey was sitting down to take his test. I was like, just thinking about all the different ways I used to cheat on tests. And I have some pretty cool cheating mechanisms.
You have some tips for all the like,
I have a lot of tips.
for all the high schoolers that are listening to this podcast.
For all the high schoolers that are listening. So a way that you might think to cheat would be to like, this is especially helpful, I will point out. This method of cheating is helpful with math because oftentimes there were equations that I couldn't remember. So you would just you would think to write the equation like on your wrist or something under your sleeve. That's way too obvious. Like if the teacher passes by or sees you pulling up your sleeve to look at the equation, you're busted. I used to write it on my calf under my pant leg. So I would sit with my leg on my knee rested like this, and it's under the desk. So the teacher would never see me like pulling up my pant leg, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the equation. And then I would solve the problem. And then another really cool way, this is better if you have like a written exam or history. Take a piece of paper, put it on another piece of paper, and you write the key notes that you like need to remember, but press really, really hard so that you make an indentation on the paper underneath. Then you throw away the paper that you wrote on, and you take your cheat sheet, which is your indented paper, with you to your test, your class.
Mm-hmm.
So the teacher just sees a blank piece of paper, but you see all of your fucking notes, dude. Imprinted right there, right in front of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So glad I'm not in school anymore.
Me too. But if I had just put
It was
forth,
way worse than any job I've ever had.
if I had just like channeled that energy that I was putting into ways to cheat without getting caught, if I had like put that focus into studying,
Yeah, what
I
fun
wouldn't
is
even,
that?
I know, because I always felt like I was getting away with shit.
I thought you used to write the answers on the inside of the cover of your calculator. Or was it somebody else.
No, that was me too. My T9 or T.
The TI-82.
TI-82.
TI-80. Yeah, TI-81.
T9 is the old
texting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put some answers and equations in there too. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You just have to be smart about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, kids, there you go. There's your tutorial on cheating.
You've heard it from the pros.
Good luck out there. Okay, so episode 23 was called Coda, and we had to look this up, or I had to look this up before we started recording because I had no idea what Coda meant. It didn't seem to me, as I was watching this episode, have any connection to the episode.
Well, I knew that it's a part of music.
Yeah.
It's like a segment. And then Victoria was like, maybe the end segment.
Yeah,
and I was like,
is it
oh
the
my
end?
God.
Because this is the end.
Yeah, coda has several meanings. One, I guess, is, a term used in music, but also used in ballet. And it's just the closing of a chapter, the closing of a dance, or a piece of music. So that's why it's called coda. So this whole episode revolves all around Dawson's last night in Cape Side because he's decided to take a summer school course at USC, which again is the University of South Carolina. Southern California.
the prestigious film
School of University of South Carolina. No. So their whole plan is, and it's just Joey, Dawson, Jen, and Jack, and they have plans to go see a movie for one last time as a gang. I guess Andy's like gone and left. Like she came to graduation, then flew right back to Italy.
Yeah, she was like, that's where I need to be right now.
Yeah. Oh, I guess in the last episode, she announced that she was deferring 1 year from Harvard and going back to Italy. So it's just the four of them. And again, this was kind of the setup in the previous episode about just how something is happening between Joey and Dawson again. So like Jack is like, Dawson, it's a really big deal you leaving Cape Side, and like, how are you going to say goodbye to Joey? It's a momentous, monumental occasion.
I was like, is it though?
I mean, I don't know.
Everyone's shipping off to college somewhere.
Yeah, but it's Dawson.
It's Dawson.
It's Dawson.
It's Dawson's last night. I mean, Dawson's the fucking center of the universe. So
Yeah.
big deal. And he's leaving early.
Right, and he's leaving early. Everyone else is still going to be in Cape Side for the summer. Dawson is leaving early because he's taking, like I said, that summer course at USC. So like I was saying, like Dawson and Jack, Jack is really just like laying it on thick, like really just bumming Dawson out about this, goodbye to Joey. And then, I think it's the next scene where you see Joey and Jen, and they're walking. So they're all headed to the movie. And Jen is like, if you asked him, he would probably stay. And Joey's like, what are you talking about? So Joey like is playing dumb. She's pretending like these feelings that she's having are not real, or it's no big deal or whatever. So that's like this whole episode.
Basically. And also Dawson is kind of being a little bitch to his dad, because his dad goes to buy him a laptop, and his dad has found this like really fancy PC, and Dawson was like, I kind of want a Mac. And I don't know if it was Dawson, or I think it was Dawson that said this. He's like, you're either a Mac person or a PC person. And I was like, damn, what year was this? And it's like,
it was probably 2000,
2001.
2000
Yeah, I think that's
point.
when this whole PC versus Mac
began.
battle started. Yeah.
And it's still in full force.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it hasn't changed.
It's funny because I forget the brand or the model of computer that Mitch insisted they get, but he was running down the specs, and it has like 32 gigabytes
Whoa.
of memory. And he was like, this is a big deal.
Top of the line.
32. I mean, I remember when like Macs had like 10 gigabytes. 10.
And now our phones have like
also 10, like a huge Photoshop file can be like 17 gigs. So like, what?
Well, I mean, it
and
makes
Mitch
sense.
is like, this is going to last you years and years. And it's like, no, honey.
Yeah. Years and years. And that's it. Just 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, so he kind of like throws a fit, and
he's being like a little bitch.
He throws a fit in front of his mom and Joey. Like when
Dad's
they come
like,
back,
oh, you're going out to the movies with your friends? I really thought. And Mitch, meanwhile, has this like he just bought his son a laptop. Like regardless of whether it's a Mac or a PC, like your dad just got you this thing. And Dawson's like, I want to go out with my friends and watch and see a movie.
We made these plans, and I'm gonna go do it. Fuck you, Dad.
And his dad's like, you're staying here and having dinner with us. And Dawson was like, no, I'm not. And I was like, damn, Dawson, maybe you should like stay with your parents. But also a weird thing is like, because his parents are like, this is the last time we're going to see you until Thanksgiving or whatever. But shouldn't his parents be flying? Don't your parents take you out to college?
I mean,
Mine did.
My parents moved me in.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Maybe-
watch how Dawson is going to fucking like crumble up and die flying out to LA by himself. And then like, what's he going to hail a cab and get it from LAX to his dorm room, and then what?
I mean, maybe they'll show up when the semester starts. Like, this is just a summer course, so maybe he, just packing light for the summer course. Maybe they'll fly out when the fall semester starts.
You
to,
got
like,
it. It's a
move
baby.
move him in
you
properly.
gotta take your baby to across the country for the first time.
Yeah, I can't believe they're just shipping him off. They're like, bye.
Good luck.
They're not even going to the airport with him. They're just going to put him in a cab
Yeah.
in the morning. And they'd be like, see ya.
Give him a $20 bill and be like,
Here you go. You know where you're going? Okay. Good luck.
yeah,
Bye.
like he has no idea where he's going.
No, and he's like, I'm going to fucking LA. I know everything. He's never been there. He has no idea. He's fucking clueless. He's going to be a culture shock. Poor Dawson.
Definitely.
So
he's going to crumble under the pressure.
I would like to see him show up in New York and just figure it out all by himself.
He would be cowering in like a subway elevator, smelling the piss and just like crying.
So Dawson does what he wants to do. He goes to the movie with his friends, and there's this like awkward scene at the end of the movie where they're outside the theater and they're all talking about like, well, what are we gonna do next? What are we gonna do next? And like, they're throwing out all these options or whatever, and they all start walking together. And Jack is like, "So what are we doing?" And Joey's like, I think we're going home now. And so Jen was like, "Well, I live across the yard, so I'm going the same direction as you." And I mean, it all comes down to like, Joey's like, "Well, I guess I'm going home first." So all four of them are in Dawson's car, and so Dawson and Joey have a really awkward goodbye. Of course, Joey's like crying her eyes out, and you can tell they're like that they left things unsaid. So then I guess they drop Jack off to where, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
they go. Well, his car was at Jen's. So then,
His car was at Jen's. That's right. Yeah.
So like after they drop off Joey, they're like back at like
Dawson and Jen's.
yeah, and then they give him a cell phone, like a flip phone with like one of those retractable antennas.
No way did any of my high school friends buy me any.
Also-
We didn't get anything. I mean, I might have gotten something for my friends, but nothing like a fucking cell phone.
Well, it's like they were so concerned that Dawson was never going to speak to them again and they'd lose touch that they were like, we have to give him a cell phone to make sure that he calls us. Dawson is rolling in inheritance money. He can buy his own goddamn flip phone.
Well, the phone didn't have any minutes on it, so he's
Right.
going to pay for that.
He's responsible for the minutes.
Yeah,
They
they're
just
like
got him the device. and
yeah, they're like don't be too excited because this literally
we could only afford 5 minutes.
yeah. So you only make one phone call on your cell
At first,
phone.
I thought when they first pulled it out, I thought it was a walkie-talkie. And I was like, will that work from that far away? I was like, oh, that's a cell phone.
It was like a Motorola.
Yeah.
Like,
Over.
from LA, a walkie-talkie.
I was like, wow, that's a powerful walkie-talkie.
In high school, my friend got me a pager. He worked at like
Whoa.
he worked at like the pager store, so I used that pager. It was clear.
So was mine. Mine was clear blue.
Mine was clear blue too.
Oh my God.
I
I
wish
loved
still
my
had
little
it.
pager because it was small and it was kind of bubbly. It had like rounded corners.
Motorola.
I don't remember.
I think
if it
mine was a Motorola.
I don't remember if mine was Motorola because I had two throughout when pagers were a thing. I had two, and the first one I had was like the black boxy one, that you would see like businessmen
No,
wearing.
yeah, those are for businessmen and doctors.
Right. Yeah.
We were in school.
But it was my very
We
first.
needed something
It was
cool.
my very first one, so I was like, I'll take whatever my parents are willing to buy me. And then I upgraded to like this really cute, and it was smaller than the black one, and it was like a bubbly clear blue. I was like, this one's so cute.
My dad was so against me getting a pager. He was like, what the hell you need this for? He's like, only doctors and drug dealers. That's what he said. Only doctors and drug dealers have pagers. And I was like, well, all my friends have pagers. So, because we have to text each other very important things. Like we would just have code words
Right.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to like
and it would be like poop.
you'd be just driving around and you would get a page from somebody and then you'd have to find a payphone. Then I'd have to like call and be like, what do you want?
Well, no, sometimes.
And they're like, I just
sometimes-
pooped. That's why I buzzed you poop.
But yeah, but there would be times where my friends and I would just like, page each other like, hello, or boobs, or
It's so fucking stupid.
Or
why
poop.
did we
Yeah.
need that? And yet somehow we all convinced our parents to get us this.
yes.
But my mom was like, I can see why you might want it. Like if I got to get a hold of ya, or I need you to come home. My dad's like, what the fuck do you need a pager for?
Did you wear yours like backwards? So like the clips on the outside?
No.
No, that's how we wore them. In your big pants.
How'd you?
In your big pants.
You wear them in your big pants, your big saggy pants, and then the pager would be on the inside, and the clip was on the outside.
So it would like buzz against your stomach?
Yeah,
But it
no,
looked
that was,
cooler?
That was just the style, yeah.
No, I wore mine regular.
Maybe I had it in my backpack.
No, you wouldn't put it in your bag. You have to wear it so people could see that you have a pager.
Then I'm cool
Right.
and important.
Yeah.
That you're either a doctor or a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Dawson gets a
Yeah, so Jen and
It's a
Jack
flip phone.
get him a cell phone. And then Jack drives off.
yeah. He's like, bye, sayonara. He gets in his car and drives away.
Yeah. And then it's just Jen and Dawson, and they have their little talk or whatever. And this is like the first scene where it was a throwback to season 1, where it's Jen and Dawson, and they're talking outside of her home, and they're saying their goodbyes and reminiscing on stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then you see Grams come out, and she's like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. And that happened in season 1 when Jen and Dawson were dating and a couple and stuff, and Grams would always interrupt them. So it was a callback to season 1. But that's not the first callback to season 1 in this episode, but that's the first one that I noticed. So they go their separate ways, and then
Wait,
sorry.
There's a bit here.
Okay.
Dawson says he makes some, I forget the context or where it came up, but he was like, I'm the only one of us that hasn't had sex.
Oh, he has that conversation with Joey. Does he have that conversation with
Joey.
Jen?
I thought he had it with Jen
I
because
thought-
then she
No,
was like,
but well, they have like this. Jen says something like, "But you and I have never slept together."
And then he goes, you got 5 minutes?
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And I was like, ugh.
yeah,
all right, that was a point I wanted to make. Like yeah, he like propositions her like in a joking way, and then she's like, yeah, LOL, and then like runs inside. She's
Yeah.
like, Grams, come back.
yeah. So they go their separate ways. So let's talk about Jen and Grams really quickly, and then we can get back over to Dawson's house. So they've packed up Grams' house. She's moving. She's leaving. And Jen is really being really sentimental about this house. And Grams is like, let's get the fuck out of here. But they're having their one final cup of tea in the house. And then you hear this like really like aggressive knocking on the door. I'm like, who's that? But it's Jack. So Jack has like shown up. So it's like, that the three of them back together in the house in their final night having tea.
Why did Jack come back? Because he got
actually
to his,
doesn't have a place to
Yeah,
live.
because he does. Yeah, where does Jack live if he wasn't living?
he lives
with
at home with
Dawson?
his make believe parents.
Okay,
But he probably got back there and he was like, oh, my mom's locked in a bedroom and my dad actually is dead. And we just don't talk about that. And my sister went back to Italy because she came in for like 12 hours and then left. I'm like, you couldn't stay a little bit longer? Like you're going to go back to Italy. You can't just stay for like the weekend and like hang out with your friends. No, got to get back to Italy.
No, back
got
to
some,
Italy.
Got some mans I got to get back to.
some Italian mans.
Yeah, so Jack like drives home, gets there, and is like,
He's like,
it's
ugh.
depressing here.
He's like, I can hear my mom like wailing.
She's like laying in her own filth. I'm gonna go back to
I gotta
Jen's.
get out of here.
I mean, Jack makes some sort of comment like, you can't have one final night in this house without me because, he used to live there at one point or whatever. And they're like a happy little family. And then we're back over at Dawson's house, and he's like packing up and shit. And Joey shows up.
Wait, I have a question before we move on.
Uh-huh.
If it's their final night in that house, are they moving to Boston like tomorrow?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
So isn't it Jen's last night too? But nobody cares about Jen, right?
But she's not starting college until the like
fall.
fall, like everyone else.
Yeah,
but are
she's-
they just
but
moving
they're-
up there early?
Yeah, but she's still leaving Cape Side if they're
And
packing
so is
up.
Graham's.
Yeah,
Yeah, Gramps is going to Boston with her.
Yeah, so are they moving to Boston tomorrow? So it's also her last night, but nobody addresses that.
Yeah, no one talks about
I
it.
never even thought about it until you asked the question.
And then everybody's going to Boston except for Dawson, right?
Right.
But eventually he does too, right? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, something happens.
yeah, something happens and they're
I
all
will
at
say
college together.
The next episode, I took a little peeky peek.
Of course you did.
And-
you do this every single
Well, especially
time.
after this
well-
one, I was like, "What happened?" It's called the Bostonians. So
Yeah.
they're all
They're all in Boston.
everyone's in Boston.
You just ruined it.
Yeah, spoiler
alert.
Spoiler alert!
Too late. You're supposed to say that before you spoil it.
Oh,
You
sorry.
can edit it out.
Yeah, just edit it
Cindy's
out.
like, by the way, and then it's just like beep, 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 beep.
I feel like that's pretty typical, actually. Everything that comes out of my mouth is fucking bleeped. I'm saying first and last names.
Yeah, so like, where are they going to live in an apartment for like a minute before they move? Like,
Are they moving into Pacey's
This was not-
beach house?
Maybe they're
for
moving
a
into
couple?
the beach house. Yeah,
But it was never addressed.
these are all-
we're speculating.
maybe
These
they
are-
could live in Jack's house because he's got a fucking mansion and
He
no
does
one
have
else
a-
is there.
He does have a fucking
They just have to
mansion.
put up with his wailing mother.
Maybe she died already. I mean, both of his parents are like
Well, then they
dead
have
in
to
the
put up
bedroom.
with the smell.
Yeah, they're like
Oh
buried
my
in the
God.
basement.
I mean, y'all make valid points. You ask valid questions. It is not addressed why they're moving out the next day, and we don't know where they're going or what their plan is. Because, yes, this is about Dawson and Dawson's Creek.
Well, it's Dawson's World
Yep.
or Dawson's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is just living in it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep, pretty
Yeah,
much.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So,
And Dawson's leaving, so they'll all just cease to exist, right?
So speaking of Dawson, we're back at his.
You would think.
We're back in his room, and he's packing up, and Joey shows up. Right? She shows up.
Yeah, Dawson goes. He's having a hard time pulling absolutely everything out of his closet and putting in a suitcase because it's hard to pack when you pack everything because you just don't know what to bring. Hey, guess what, Dawson? Bring it all. And so he's like, and then he like walks outside and he was gonna get in his rowboat and go down to
Oh, that's right. Yes.
to
Right.
Joey's, and then when he gets outside, she's already rowed
because
up.
he actually has so when he comes back from the movie, he walks in and he sees a Mac laptop sitting on the dining room table, and so him and his dad have a conversation, and I mean, I guess the Mac laptop was like an apology and a peace offering.
Although I don't think Mitch had anything to fucking apologize for.
Well, Gail made him feel bad that he was being like overly protective or like he was blowing it all out of proportion because Mitch feels threatened about his control and fatherhood. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like he's upset that Dawson's leaving, so he's acting out by like being overbearing and like trying
And
to
she was
to
also
control
she was
him.
also saying kind of the same thing about Dawson. Like, Dawson is acting out because he's also like, not accepting reality right now. Like he's just as insecure and nervous about leaving as you are about your son leaving. Like you're also insecure and nervous about this big change that's going to happen. And so, I mean, they were both being kind of bullheaded a little bit, about it, and it took Gail to like bring it to Mitch's attention. So his way of kind of smoothing things out with Dawson is to get him the laptop that he actually wanted, which was the Mac, and they sit down, they have a conversation, and Mitch asks him about Joey, like, how did it go? And Dawson's like, it didn't go well. Like you set expectations, and what actually happens doesn't live up to those expectations. And Mitch is like, all right, well, this is my last piece of advice before you head off to college. It ain't over till it's over. And Dawson's like, what? That's it?
And then he's like, no, that's not it. Also use condoms.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So he goes up to his room and he starts trying to pack, and he's, starting to probably feel overwhelmed or whatever, grabs his jacket, heads out, and runs into Joey. And so they both had the same idea. And so they end up in his room, and she's like, quote unquote, helping him pack. And I guess Dawson has like hung up this huge movie poster, like Mr. Brooks's movie poster on his wall. And Joey's like, don't forget about that. Don't forget to pack your posters.
This whole packing process would be so much easier if his parents like drove him out, which is what every parent does when their kid is going to college. They like drive them out and they pack all of their things that they need for a new life
and
in
then
a
when
new
you
fucking state.
And then when you get to your college, you go to the nearest Bed Bath and Beyonce and you buy all the things that you need.
Your
for your
parents buy you
right,
all
your
the
parents
bullshit
buy
that you need.
all the things
Trash
that you need
cans
for your dorm room.
Yeah, because you don't know shit. You're 18 years old. You're like, how do I live? Like, I don't even. How do I cook? And they're like, well, you need pans. And you're like, a pan? What's that? And then your parents buy you some basics, some pots, some pans, trash bags,
You get
bedding.
your single person dish set with one plate, one bowl, one cup,
Yeah.
one set of silverware.
I still have the dish set that my parents bought me when I moved out.
I still have my bathroom trash can from college, IKEA.
Yeah.
I just never saw a reason to get rid of my Corelware.
I mean,
So
no,
just like had
don't
it.
get rid of it. If
Yeah.
if it still
Still works.
still
But
works.
that's the
If it
whole-
still works.
It's still a plate.
Your
Yeah.
plate, your plate still
Still
works.
bowl.
But yeah, that's what your parents like get you these things because you need them. Dawson's parents are like, pack what you think you need. I don't know. Here's a laptop.
Maybe they're
Get
try-
on the plane and
Maybe they're
good luck.
secretly trying to teach him a lesson. They're like, that stuck-up prick is he's in for some hard knocks.
Some rude awakening.
He's gonna get to LA and be like, "What's a pot?
How do I?
What's a pan?
I'm hungry. What do I do?
Yeah, I don't understand how to eat.
What do I do with my dirty clothes? What?
I mean, but for real, you don't know. I mean, like but it's a lot of things to think about as a kid that you don't have a reason to think about these things, and then all of a sudden you do.
you have to think about you have to think about these things. Yeah. So so I was saying he's taking down Mr. Brooks's movie poster, and Joey blurts out, "Dawson, I want you to stay." And he's like,
Think you could have brought
Excuse-
this to my attention?
"Excuse me?" And it made me think about what Jen had said earlier, like, because Jen was like, for sure that if Joey had asked him to stay, Dawson would 100% say yes, that he would stay. But he says no.
Yeah.
And I was glad because fuck Joey. Because you know what happened last episode too? She went to Pacey's to talk and he's like, I still love you. And so seeing you is difficult and I can't be around you. And she looked all pouty like she always does. And she's like, what? You don't want to talk to me because we broke up and it's difficult for you? Like, I don't get why people don't like want to be around me. Not everything goes your way, bitch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is another example. She's like, what? You won't stay for me?
Yeah, like the whole thing, I was like, it's literally like a few months and he's going out. He's already signed up for a class.
It's done.
It's done. It's a thing. And then, yeah, so he's like, well, I appreciate the thought, but doesn't really make sense at this point.
Like they probably already have housing lined up for him.
Yeah,
and
he's
shit.
like, I'm
Like, it's
literally
happening.
leaving in like 16 hours. So
Not even 16 hours. He's leaving tomorrow morning.
He hasn't packed yet. What?
I know this.
Yeah. Oh God, it all stresses me out. I'm like, you're literally, you haven't.
Victoria's having a very hard time right now.
None of it makes any sense.
He's not going on vacation. He's like going somewhere to live.
Yeah, and he's like, I guess I'll throw like 3 pairs of underwear and a shirt and like a suitcase, and that's fine,
and
right?
my movie poster.
Yeah, and like all my movie posters.
That's
'cause
good.
I can just wipe my ass with
This
them.
is why you need your parents to take you. Because that is what you would think as an 18-year-old. I can't get over this plot line.
No,
I just
clearly cannot.
It doesn't make any
I
sense.
think
It's
his
very upsetting.
Parents secretly want him to crash and burn, so they're like, ha 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 ha, it's good luck in LA, asshole.
So yeah, so he says no.
Good.
And then
She's like, no, but Jen said you would.
Yeah, Jen was. Wait, what? Yeah.
Can I jump to Joey's defense just for a little bit? She almost kind of took the question back. She's like, I know the answer, and I don't know why I just said this, but I just had to say it, you know. And so I think she knew realistically that he wasn't going to stay, but selfishly, you know, and again, this proves your point, you know, about Joey being a bitch. You know, like, it was a very selfish thing for her to do, to ask the question. But for whatever reason, she felt she had to say it, even though she knew the answer would probably be no matter what Jen had said to her earlier. But she did kind of like explain herself. She's like, I know I shouldn't have said anything. But, you know, this is not the movies. This is real life. And so I'm just going to say it. So, yeah. I don't know. She wasn't like a major bitch 100% of the time. Not all the time.
She got real self-centered. That whole episode where she thought she was pregnant but refused to take a pregnancy test and instead made everyone else around her miserable for like 3 days. And then finally she took a pregnancy test and then she was like, oh, I'm not pregnant.
I'm not pregnant.
Problem solved.
I mean, I'm not saying she's like, you know, she's not like the best character. You know, you rarely root for Joey. But I'm just saying, you know, I just have to play a little devil's advocate there, okay? Like,
You can play devil's advocate. That's allowed.
Okay, thank you.
So he's like, I'm not leaving. And then she's like, okay. And then
like, she starts to put on her jacket. She's like, well, I guess it's time for me to go. She starts to put on her little jean jacket. And she's like, I wish the ladder was still here so I could make my grand exit or whatever.
But one thing to point out before we get here.
Okay.
Earlier in the conversation, Dawson asked, or they were just talking about the most monumental or most life-altering moment that has taken place in their lives. And Joey was like, it was when you kissed me.
Right here in front of this
right
window.
Here in front of this window. And I was like, that was your fucking life-altering moment?
well, she's 17.
True, but shouldn't her life-altering moment be like,
And I think
when
it might have
won?
Oh, never mind.
Like top of her class or when she got top of her class, or I don't know, when she got accepted into fucking Harvard College or whatever. Like, that seems pretty life-altering. But she's like, no, it's when you kissed me.
Yeah.
It's when you kissed me and then we dated for 3 whole weeks.
Yeah.
and then it's just been a thing ever since.
Yeah. And so they're like hugging and she's crying and then they're hugging some more and then they kind of pull away from each other.
And then Dawson goes, remember earlier when we were talking about life-altering moments? I think mine would be this moment right here. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, I knew it was coming. And they're like really close to one another too.
Well, and that's funny too. So the camera like pans out. So you see them full body standing in front of the window. And yes, and that's when to me it looked like they were standing really close to each other. When they were when the camera was close up on them, I was like, oh well, they're standing close because the camera is a tight shot on them too, so they need to be standing closer. But when it panned out to show their whole bodies and they were standing that close, I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
They were standing so close that Dawson looked cross-eyed when he was trying to look at Joey. I was like, God damn, why are they standing so close?
They were like toe to toe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh, here we go. And so they're just like inching, and it's the slowest like move in for a kiss that I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, it took a while.
I thought they were like, I thought it was gonna be like a fake out at first. I was like, oh, they're gonna, and then she's gonna be like,
I swear,
and then like leave.
I swear that entered my moment too for a split second. I was like, is this actually gonna happen? Or are they gonna fake it out? But no, it happens. They kiss, and then. So this is the second scene that I noticed where it was another callback to the season finale of season 1, where Dawson and Joey are kissing in the room. So the scene is in the bedroom and they're kissing, and then The next scene, it's out in Dawson's yard, and it's cameras pointing up, looking at his bedroom window, and you see the silhouettes of them in his window. And that's exactly how season 1 ended, with them kissing. So the way that we ended, season 1, Victoria and I were like, when we started talking about season 2, we're like, man, they were kissing for a long ass time. So they kissing again for a long ass time when season 5 opens up.
Did it open up with them still kissing?
Yes.
Oh, so okay.
It takes the same shot. So you know how the shot from the window, I think it pans down.
Okay.
Right? And then the opening shot
It
for the next
pans
season,
up.
it pans back up to the window, and then it goes back into the bedroom and they're kissing and that. But Joey's in college now, and she's in like a big classroom, and she gets her test back. It's gonna be the same shit.
All right, don't
all over
don't
again.
talk about it.
Wait, I want to
any
say one more
further.
thing. She gets a C on her exam, and she runs after the professor after class to fucking talk about it. And I was like, this bitch hasn't changed a bit.
No, she's like, when back in Cape Side, I got A's on everything
Yeah.
without trying. And
That's also a very typical, I don't know, is trope the right word? But like when you have on TV shows, when you have a straight A student who's
Like
top
an
of their class,
overachiever.
overachiever, and then they hit college and suddenly they're C average students, they all freak out.
Small fish in a big pond now.
Right. Yeah. They all freak out. That's a very typical thing that you see in TV shows.
And
Not fair.
He was like, I can tell you're a writer, Joey Potter. And she's like, well, then why did you give me a C on this? And he's like, because she wrote about their kiss. So that's why they open up with that kiss. And then there's like some lines or whatever. And the lines are things that she wrote for class.
Okay.
And he's like, well, you ended the story where it should have began. And I'm like, that's what I was saying about Jack and Toby washing the car.
and they're like, fucking.
like, exactly.
All right. Well, seeing as you're the only one who's done what she's not supposed to do.
I always
and-
take nips of the next
Yeah,
episode.
you do.
I feel like, Cindy, you need to write some like fan fiction about
Toby and
some
Jack.
like fan fiction erotica about Toby and Jack.
I bet I should do a whole podcast on it.
Where you just talk dirty about what their whole fucking sex life.
Yeah.
She's gonna make porn. Would it be podcast porn or porn podcast?
Pod
porn?
Pod porn?
Pod erotica.
I'd be like, grab your popcorn because we're
Podica.
about to listen to some pod porn or whatever. I don't know.
Fiction pod erotica.
But I could get actors, like voice actors. Should I be doing this with my life?
write out a script and let us review, and then we'll advise on next steps. I want to know if it's any good.
Should I do that? And yeah, and then we can record it.
It has to be Jack and Toby doing butt stuff, and so you need to get voice actors that sound like
Jack and Toby.
That's the whole point of fan fiction. Otherwise, you're just writing fiction.
All right.
Well, I only know straight white men.
Well, that was my point. Why I was asking you who
Alex.
Yeah, ask Alex.
if he wants
He sounds white.
to role play. Some,
maybe because he is white.
Oh boy. Well, all right, then he's Jack for sure.
No, you gotta
Yeah,
find
he's Jack for sure.
You gotta find a Toby now.
Ben?
There you go.
I'm just picturing. Can we be in the room?
They might want some privacy.
Right. It might be. All right. None of this is gonna happen. It doesn't matter. Are we still recording?
Yeah, we are. Okay.
Yeah, neither of them are actually going to agree to do this.
Yeah.
I think what's actually going to end up happening is I'm going to write something and we're going to act it out.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
not
can
act it,
sound
we're
we can sound like white gay dudes.
It's also just awkward. Okay, write it out. I want to read the script.
All right.
I want to know what gay sex is like in your brain.
It's really fun. Just like a party, you know.
Now
There's
that
not
we,
like no one's dominating any other people. It's like equal playing field and a party.
okay.
All right.
And there are snacks.
Just gonna be snacks.
There's always got to be snacks.
Like they're eating like pirate booty
Like party mix.
while they're eating booty.
Chex Mix.
Not Chex Mix, like the Utz party mix.
Oh, okay.
Like with the Doritos and the corn chips and the pretzels.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but nothing says party like the Utz party mix.
All right.
It's got party right there in the
But it's
in
not
the
really
title.
a party. It's two men having sex.
But in my brain, it's party
This
time.
is what you asked for. You said you wanted to know what gay porn looked like in Cindy's head. This is
all
what
right,
it looks
right,
like.
All right,
It looks like Utz party.
it looks like Utz party mix. Got it.
and cotton candy.
Okay, can we... This has been a very one of our strangest tangents that we've been on, and it's gone on for a while. I would like to bring it back to Dawson's Creek, if that's okay.
No, I think we're done.
I was just getting started.
I think we're done with Dawson's Creek.
I
right?
did want to.
I
mention
do have one more thing to say when you're done.
Yeah, I do have one more thing to say about episode 23. So Pacey has sailed off. I think he's already in the Caribbean at this point. And you just get glimpses of him in this episode. In this one scene, he's like looking for a cell phone. He asks his deckhand mate, friend, whatever, for a phone. And he starts calling a number. We don't know who he's calling, but no one on the other end picks up, so he just hangs up. But then, so this happens before the Dawson Joey packing bedroom kissing scene. Dawson gets a call at his home, and it's Pacey, and that is their kind of final formal goodbye. Pacey's just like, throughout everything that's happened between us, being your best friend has, been, the most important thing in my life. And, I'm just really, happy that we are maybe not, they're maybe not friends yet, but they're like getting back to that point where with the best friends that they used to be. And Dawson's like, Pacey, I'm just really proud of you. So I just wanted to point that out. There was a little Pacey in this episode, very little Pacey, but
the thing I wanted to point out was also about Pacey. This opening scene where he's in the Caribbean, they play like the most hilarious island music.
Yeah, it's very
and the
stock.
crew, like the guy has
Stocky.
dreads, and he's like, "Do you need the cell phone, man?" And I was like, "Oh
doesn't
my god,
he
guys!"
doesn't have that thick of an accent, but yes,
The
he does have
music
one.
was just so ridiculous.
And of course, Pacey is wearing the loudest Tommy Bahama-ish
Everyone is like all the crew
shirt.
people on the
because that's what
piers.
you wear in the Caribbean.
I don't know. I've been there, and I just saw people wearing
I know
t-shirts.
it's very cliche. It's very cliche.
I thought it was really funny.
but it was very cliche, and I'm sure slightly offensive on some level.
I think so.
So we kind of buried. We went back to talk about gay porn and
For a long
and
time.
Pacey, but what was supposed to be the big finale of this season was Dawson and Joey kissing again, and clearly to the three of us, it was. Bleh.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was a life-changing, monumental moment.
Bleh. No. And
I
that's
thought it
how-
was beautiful. It brought me to tears. I was like, yes.
I mean, I started cracking up when they were showing the silhouettes in the window. I'm like, oh my God, really? I guess it is supposed to be kind of, full circle. I think that obviously that was intentional, but it made me giggle.
Made me lol.
Hee hee hee. And that's how season 4 ends. Guys, we got through season 4.
We did it.
We
Pew,
did
pew,
it. Snaps. Good job, you guys. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so we are Basic Teen TV. We'll hopefully come back to you as soon as possible with season 5. Again, yeah, ASAP. Again, my name is Melissa.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Cindy.
And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.